word on the street is that a certain beloved legacy character is back on set. Yes, the signature blonde hair has been spotted walking around the backstage areas, and it belongs to none other than Maxie. Now, I know exactly what you were thinking, but hold on, because this is not just a simple, heartwarming return. A secret just slipped through the cracks, a hidden agenda that someone behind the scenes is trying very hard to cover up before it officially hits our television screen. The insider buzz is absolutely deafening right now, and it points to a storyline so explosive and so dangerous that they are keeping the scripts under lock and key. You see, when a legacy character like Maxie suddenly pops back up on the radar, the network usually makes a massive spectacle out of it. They release promotional photos, they schedule extensive cast interviews, and they hype up the return for weeks on end to draw in the viewers. But this time, there is absolute silence. Something about this feels hidden. It feels like we just heard something that nobody was supposed to know yet. The intense secrecy surrounding her scenes, the closed sets, the whispers about her wardrobe and makeup, it all screams that a massive behind-the-scenes possibility is currently being filmed in the shadows. If you ask me, the writers are orchestrating a massive shocker, and Maxie is the crucial linchpin holding this entire covert narrative together. Naturally, everyone assumes that this is just a standard run-of-the-mill visit. Most viewers believe that Maxie is simply returning to check in on the corporate drama at the cosmetics company, perhaps to throw her weight around in the boardroom and settle some ongoing dispute. Or maybe people think she is just coming back to share a few heartwarming family moments with James and the rest of her children. The obvious explanation seems to be that she will walk into a room, offer some sage advice, show off her freshly dyed blonde hair, and then quietly fade into the background again as a recurring guest star. People are taking this unconfirmed information and watering it down, thinking it is just a routine casting update meant to provide a little bit of nostalgic comfort to longtime fans. But what if we're looking at this the wrong way? What if this sudden return has absolutely nothing to do with corporate takeovers, boardroom politics, or casual family dinners? The obvious explanation is almost always a deliberate misdirection when it comes to the intricate storytelling of this show. Think about the timing of these sightings. Think about the current dangerous landscape of the canvas, especially with the dark shadow of the intelligence agency looming over everyone in town. There may be more going on here than a simple homecoming. The rumor mill strongly suggests that Maxie's return is going to be incredibly brief, almost like a lightning strike. Why would the production team bring her back just to have her leave again so quickly? Unless, of course, her frantic departure is the actual story they are trying to tell. Let us dive into the alternative story, the real meat of this speculation that is setting the internet on fire. We know for a fact that Cassius is secretly alive. The intelligence agency, specifically the ruthless director known as Z, recruited him in the shadows while the rest of the town mourned his supposed death. James is completely heartbroken, genuinely believing his father figure is gone forever. Now, imagine Maxie, who is fiercely protective, fiercely loyal, and always digging where she shouldn't, stumbling upon a terrifying truth. What if Maxie did not just come home for a visit? What if she actually found Cassius? The insider buzz points to Maxie inadvertently becoming a massive liability for the intelligence agency. She might have accidentally discovered that Cassius is being held captive or being deeply manipulated by Z into executing a dark, covert mission. Just picture the intense cinematic scene. Maxie, perhaps following a strange trail of breadcrumbs meant for someone else entirely, picks the lock on a classified safe house and walks right into the living room, only to lock eyes with the man everyone thinks is buried in the ground. Suddenly, the illusion shatters into a million pieces. She realizes that the agency has been pulling the strings all along, playing a cruel game of God with their lives and their grief. And knowing Maxie, she is not the type of woman to just walk away, turn a blind eye, and keep her mouth shut. I keep wondering whether she makes a split-second, incredibly dangerous decision right then and there to break Cassius out of his invisible prison. She helps him escape their clutches, effectively burning the agency's entire covert operation to the ground in one swift move. She brings him back to town, thinking they have won the war. But in doing so, she paints a massive, inescapable target on her own back. If this speculation holds any weight, Maxie bringing Cassius back is not a happy, romantic ending. It is the terrifying beginning of a nightmare. The agency simply cannot afford to have a loose cannon like Maxie running around with their most classified, explosive secret. They will hunt her down to silence her permanently. This perfectly explains why her return might be so fleeting. She brings Cassius back, realizes the catastrophic danger she has invited into her home, and understands that staying in town is an absolute death sentence for her and her children. The horrific realization hits her that as long as she is anywhere near Cassius, the crosshairs of the world's most dangerous assassins will remain fixed on their family. This leads us to a truly gut-wrenching, emotionally devastating possibility. Maxie has to run. She has to disappear off the face of the earth, but she cannot take everyone with her without slowing down. She looks at James, who is currently grieving, vulnerable, and shattered by the loss of the man he viewed as his father, and she makes the most agonizing choice a mother could ever make. She decides to leave James behind, specifically in the care of Cassius. I know, it sounds completely insane to leave a young child with a man actively fleeing a global intelligence agency, but think about the twisted, desperate logic here. James absolutely adores Cassius. To James, Cassius is his protector, his hero, his father. Maxie knows deep down that Cassius would burn the entire world to ash to keep James safe. By separating, Maxie draws the primary heat away from them. She takes Damien and the other kids and vanishes into the night, acting as the ultimate high-profile decoy so that Cassius and James can survive quietly in the shadows. Now, we have to look at this from a few different angles because the rumor mill is spinning out several distinct, fascinating paths. Scenario 1, Maxie and Damien stage a massive public distraction. That's one possibility. They intentionally make it look like they have stolen highly classified agency files, forcing Z to send all of his top-tier operatives after them. Maxie sacrifices her own peace, going on the run with Damien across the globe, purely to ensure that Z's agents are looking at Europe or South America instead of the local, quiet, safe houses where Cassius is hiding with James. In this scenario, Maxie becomes an international fugitive out of pure, unadulterated maternal love, completely changing her legacy from a fashion executive to a rogue, self-sacrificing operative. But another theory is that the agency actually let Maxie find Cassius on purpose. Scenario 2 suggests a deeply psychological, incredibly cruel manipulation orchestrated by Z. What if Z intentionally left the breadcrumbs for Maxie to find? He knows that Cassius is a flight risk, a rogue element that is hard to control with just threats. By allowing Maxie to rescue Cassius and bring him home, Z successfully places Cassius exactly where he wants him, trapped by his overwhelming love for James. Z then approaches Maxie in the dead of night and gives her a chilling ultimatum. Leave town with Damien and the other kids, never look back, never contact them again, and Cassius and James get to live. If she stays, everyone dies. Maxie's sudden departure wouldn't be a frantic escape. It would be a coerced exile, a heartbreaking deal made with the devil to keep her son breathing. Scenario 3 flips the script entirely and turns everything we know upside down. What if Maxie is not the victim in this dynamic? What if we're looking at this the wrong way and Maxie has actually aligned herself with a rival rogue faction within the intelligence agency? We know there are always internal power struggles and shadow wars happening behind closed doors. Maxie might have struck a covert deal with a splinter group that desperately wants to take Z down from the inside. She extracts Cassius, hides him and James in plain sight under the protection of this rogue faction, and then leaves town with Damien to actively hunt down the leverage needed to destroy Z's empire. In this version of the rumor, Maxie isn't running away in fear. She is going on the offensive. She leaves James with Cassius because Cassius is the ultimate, lethal bodyguard, while she and Damien become the hunters, tracking down Z's vulnerabilities. Every single one of these scenarios completely shatters our current understanding of the canvas. If you ask me, the writers are setting up a complex chessboard where all the most important pieces are moving in the dark. The idea that Maxie could walk into town, drop a resurrected Cassius into James's lap, and then vanish into thin air is the kind of high-stakes, breathless drama that redefines a show's entire era. It perfectly explains the sudden blonde hair sightings on set. It explains the incredibly brief shooting schedule for the actress, and it gives Cassius a massive, meaty storyline that doesn't just rely on rehashing old romances. It binds Cassius and James together in an unbreakable survival pact, while elevating Maxie to a legendary status of self-sacrifice and bravery. But guys, we have to talk about the darkest, most terrifying corner of this speculation. I keep wondering whether we are severely underestimating just how lethal this situation truly is. Here is the most dangerous possibility, the one that will genuinely keep you up at night. What if Cassius is not just a pawn in this game? What if Cassius is the weapon itself? The agency didn't just recruit him, they broke his mind and programmed him. Maxie breaks him out, thinking she saved the man James loved. She leaves James with him and runs with Damien to draw the heat, fully believing she has secured her son's safety. But what if Maxie unknowingly left her son with a ticking time bomb? What if Z's ultimate sinister failsafe is that if Cassius is ever separated from the agency's direct control, his deeply buried psychological programming activates, turning him into a lethal threat to the very people he is supposed to protect? If this haunting theory is true, Maxie's ultimate sacrifice might be the exact trigger for an unimaginable tragedy. She runs away to protect them, completely unaware that the real monster isn't the heavily armed agents chasing her across the globe. It is the man she left sitting in the living room with James. The psychological horror of Maxie sitting in a safe house thousands of miles away, crying tears of relief because she thinks she did the right thing, while Cassius slowly loses his grip on his own mind around James. It is absolutely chilling. It is the kind of bold, terrifying storytelling that leaves a permanent scar on the audience and changes the characters forever. Something about this feels hidden, like a deadly trap waiting to spring the moment Maxie crosses the city limit. So, where does this leave us? Is Maxie truly running away to act as a desperate decoy? Or is she secretly pulling the strings from afar to dismantle the agents? Is Cassius the ultimate loving protector for James? Or is he a sleeper agent waiting to be activated by a shadow director? We cannot confirm anything yet. The insider buzz is loud, the speculation is running wild, and the unconfirmed information continues to pour in from every corner of the studio. But one thing is absolutely certain. If that signature blonde hair is indeed back on set, the storm is already here. There may be more going on here than anyone can predict. Maybe the rumors are exactly right, or maybe they are just scratching the surface of a much darker, more twisted truth. Keep your eyes peeled, guys, because this story is far from over, and the real secret has yet to be fully revealed.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.